Round one. Fight.
Heroes never die.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow in the knee.
Power, sex, power. They both come down to one thing.
Hungry gamers.
Hello, and welcome, boys and girls, to the 139th episode of the Hungry Gamers podcast. We are powered by 8bit.net and Audio Technica. I'm your extremely humble host, Brendan White. You can find me just about everywhere at Brendan8bit. And joining me today, the Captain Marvel to my Nick Fury, Miss Ali Hart, who can be found at Miss Ali Hart. How you doing on this duo edition of THG?
Yep, we've cut him off. That's it. We've had enough. We've hit the high road now. So we're going to start cutting members. We're going to be the Beatles.
His tardiness just came to a head during the week. Especially with all the unnecessary dramas and tension surrounding 8-Bit Day. So Dream, it's been nice knowing you, but smell you later.
Oh God! But as you know, early morning Sunday, never a good time to coordinate a few adults first thing in the morning. Yet we manage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we get there somehow, by hook or by crook, as they say out there on the streets. But Dream, he's out there hustling and doing what Dream does. So we wish you all your best on the Tekken circuit and hope you murk all them dogs. And those hairy nipples are out there for everyone else to see now, hopefully. So
not fucking full screen on us. We have blessed this morning. How have you been, Brendan, after such a hectic week?
Yeah, it's been a hot minute. It was pretty wild. Like, for those that have been sort of off grid, we officially unveiled 8-Bit Phase 3 this past week, February 14 or February 13, depending on where you were in the globe. But a whole heap of new content. We've got new podcasts. We've got new podcasters and content creators on the books. We've just released our new Patreon, patreon.com/weare8bit to get in on that action. And you can get the 8-Bit Cast, which is our new, for now, monthly conversational podcast, bringing in all those varied content creators from the 8-Bit Nation together to talk on one podcast. And you can get early access to that for $1 per month.
Can't even get a burger for $1.
You cannot. I think you can get a frozen Coke these days from McDonald's, but frozen Coke is shit. I'm not big on frozen Coke and slushies. Not at all.
Frozen Coke, no. And to be fair, it's never working anyway when you want one, so that machine doesn't actually work. However, I'm a massive fan of slushies, specifically pina colada. Mwah. Pina colada with a bit of Red Bull. You'll be going for the whole day. When
we're talking like alcohol-based slushies, I'm like, yeah, I can do the dance with that. But like, if we're just talking going to a 7-Eleven, getting a slushie, it's like, no. Because I don't know if I just drink them wrong, but I'll get halfway through and all the flavor's gone, and then I'm just left with
you're
bland
totally
ice.
drinking it wrong. So just for reference, pina colada wasn't alcohol. That's a 7-Eleven slushie. It's a flavor. Trust me, it's the bomb. It's the bomb. And like I said, just throw a little bit of Red Bull in there and you're good. But you got to make sure you're regularly stirring. Like when you drink, have a few sips, stir. Because that syrup is definitely going to start going down to the bottom. And if you're drinking directly, then you're going to be drinking all the flavour out. And then you're just going to be left with mush.
And that's how I'm usually left in these situations. But doubling back, sneak a little bit of white rum in that pina colada from the 7-Eleven as well, and have yourself a good party to start off your mornings. So get amongst it.
Get amongst it with a bit of rum and fucking pina colada slushy in your breakfast.
Now I'm thinking about strawberry daiquiris. That's like my cocktail kink. I love strawberry daiquiris. And I don't even care how wussy it makes me look when I'm drinking one. Like, with the little, like, real strawberry stuck on the edge and sometimes a little flag and whatever else and a little umbrella. It's like, man, I don't care. I'm owning this shit. This is delicious.
Hard-ass alcohol, then obviously a frozen margarita for me. I can down those for days. Those are great. And Guzman and Gomez do them. And they do them pretty well. Yeah. They saved me in an RTX.
Yeah, their pink lemonades they do there too. They're really good as well.
Oh, damn.
Guzzi is the best Australian-based Mexican food chain by far, in my very humble opinion.
I mean, there's not many, so...
No, just stay away from Mad Mex and Sombreros. They are gutter trash.
Yeah, Sombreros is terrible.
But you know what's not terrible?
What's not terrible,
The
Brendan?
things we've been doing this week. Oh, it could be terrible. I don't know yet. But I've at least lived a wholesome life this week. Played some things. What about you? What have you been playing?
I had such a hectic week, obviously, prepping for 8-Bit Day and other things that are going on in the life. But I was able to kind of squish in a few games. I decided to give this Tetris 99 on the Switch a go. This Battle Royale Tetris game that I swear I thought everyone was trolling me on Twitter. I thought everyone just had this gag that they were going for because I didn't get to watch the direct. But I thought everyone was trolling me. I thought, like, it was just this whole gag that everyone's like, oh, Tetris Battle Royale. And I'm like, oh, God, this isn't funny. But no, real thing. It's a free game. So what's the harm in installing it and giving it a go? I lost no dollary dues on that one. I'm addicted.
Yeah, this game, like... I'm with you, like, because we were gearing up. We had the launch of 8-Bit 3.0 an hour after the Nintendo Direct, so I didn't get to watch it, and then my Twitter feed was just full of memes of like the single long 4-piece from Tetris, and it's like, yo, bro, where we dropping? And I'm like, I don't understand what's going on. And then I saw the trailer and all this hype, and I'm like, holy shit, this exists. Yeah. I never knew this needed to exist, and yet it does, and it's apparently great. Like,
it is, like, so, like, I loaded in with, like, no information really on how it was going to work. I just kind of loaded in, and straight off the bat, there's these lines, you're targeting people, and I'm like, I don't get it. Are we shooting people or what? I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to play Tetris. I'm going to play Tetris, and whatever happens, happens. And then, I started becoming familiar with it, and essentially... you can target people, and once you demolish 2 or more blocks, whoever you've got targeted, they'll absorb that, and essentially after a while people will start reaching the top, they'll die, or, they'll be, taken away from the game, and then it's last man standing. There is a level of intensity to this. Like, who would have thought Tetris would give me the same, like, kind of, like, heart palpitations as, like, a general, like, first-person shooter battle royale would. But I don't know how many times last night I was just, amongst it, like, getting to top 10, and then, like, just having just a one bad square, or timing being off, and me just not being on the ball, and just be like, okay, just one more game, just one more, and it's like an hour later, and I'm like, oh, goddamn.
It's great, like 99 players on the Tetris battlefield, and as you were saying, is it garbage? Is that the term, or what they actually call it in the game, that you can throw at other players to try and help eliminate them? Is that what they're calling it? Well,
that must be what they're calling it, but it's essential. It's the same concept as you would play, like, Tetris, 2-player that you would play on, like, your Mega Drive or your Nintendo when those, when that was the thing. Whereas, if you do a successful bunch of rows, then the other player absorbs it, and their pile gets pushed up with those grey squares, which you can get rid of. But that's essentially what you're doing to it. So, those grey squares are your ammo, and you're pretty much shooting that at the other players until they get knocked out. So,
Can I ask, how was the servers? Like, obviously this is running on the, obviously the Nintendo Online service. Is it fluid? Is there latency? No lag?
No lag, no hiccup, no lag, no latency. And there's literally, the second you get knocked out of a match, you get your score loaded up, and you can actually scroll through. You can watch until the end if you want to see who actually wins. But when your turn it finally ends or whatever, there's actually just an A button that you hold on to, which is just rematch. You hold that button down and just sticks you in another queue. And it doesn't take long till you're in the next match. Like, I'm assuming that once this kind of hype over this game starts to diminish, you'll probably start seeing that it might take maybe a little bit longer to get into a game. But right now, it's just like games are starting like instantly. So I think that's probably what didn't help my addiction last night on not playing another game.
Who would have thought that this would exist? Like, it's such a bizarre combination of two very different genres / IP, and yet it works.
I feel like it was like someone out there that just watched all like, all us edgelords out there going like, oh, battle royales, what are they gonna do next? A Tetris battle royale? And Nintendo's like, all right, fuckers. Mm-hmm. There you go. Enjoy. And yeah, I am enjoying it. So yes, thank you, Nintendo.
Well, who knows? Like they've got the old sort of Dr. Mario world coming out. I don't know if it's slated for this year or next year, but maybe they're going to chuck a battle royale mode into that next. Who knows? Who knows?
I used to love playing on the Mega Drive. I used to always play Columns, which was essentially Tetris. And then what was the Sonic one? Dr. Robotnik's Marvelous Bean or something like that. It was this Bean Machine.
That sounds like it could be a porno.
Yeah, maybe it was. Maybe I'm getting my titles mixed up.
Were you in Slim Dream's bloody stash again? Is that what happened? I told him he's got to separate the game from the porn better, but it's so hard.
I kept pressing the controller and it just got more intense.
Yeah, he's got like
everyone got sweaty.
Yeah, instead of a Mad Catz, it's like a rabbit or something he's got now.
Oh, but the ergonomic hand controls.
The rumble feedback is fantastic.
This is a horrible, but very convenient segue. I also played a really screwed up game called What's Under Your Blanket on PC.
I don't even want to have a guess.
What do you think's under the blanket, Brendan? What do you think?
Crumbs from snacks.
Probably. It's probably there. But no, it's a game about Batin and not about getting caught by certain people. So you are masturbating, as Sam would say. And you were laying in bed and essentially it's just a clicking game where you're clicking your mouse furiously. Don't go too fast because you actually start to burn the bed. But in between these segments, people are just opening your door. Like you hear footsteps and people are opening your door. Could be your dad, could be your mum, could be your grandma, could be your cat.
That's an impressive cat.
Very impressive cat. I don't know how it opens the door. So in between these sequences of you baiting, these people open the door. So you've got to make sure you stop, close the door, and start again. I luckily got to the 3rd level where you're at your computer and then you're covered in a blanket. But Grandpa kept on walking in, and that kept on slowing my momentum down. So
God damn it.
My experience in this kind of matter was also a bit flawed. So it took me a while to get a hand of it.
Hey, the puns are flying thick and fast. Obviously, we have a pretty good idea of what the end game or the final resolution of this game is. It's to sort of reach the promised land in these various scenarios.
Yeah, which is actually resembled by fireworks. So I'm a female. Spoilers. So I'm just going to assume that's what happens to you guys. Just a little fireworks display happens.
Yeah. It's like that. And I don't know if anyone's ever listened to one of those like Gregorian Anthem CDs. You get the fireworks and then you sort of get, like maybe the Halo starting where it's like, it's like this moment of enlightenment and fireworks and chants, and it's quite the out-of-body experience. So it looks like this game's nailed it.
I missed out on that. And also they're very, the one thing that actually kind of caught me off guard was between stages, there's also an arm wrestling match.
Oh, wow.
I'm not too sure how those link together, but I'm just going to leave that a beautiful mystery of life.
Maybe it's to strengthen your slam arm. Who knows?
That could actually possibly be it. That actually make a lot of sense. So, obviously, one of Ali's wonderful, cheap, weird games found on Steam. Give it a go. I'd say give it a hand, but
give it a click.
give it a rough click.
I wonder if we're going to see like the sequel, and it's going to be like a female character that you play as, and that mouse clicking becomes even more relevant to try and reach the promised land.
Yeah, slapping the clam. So what have you been playing?
I've been playing a couple of things. One I'll quickly mention that I forgot to write on the document. I finally cracked into my Nintendo Labo stuff yesterday.
Oh, finally! When did you get
I've had about 6 months ago.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been sitting there. So we decided to sit down and build the various little bits of cardboard based machinery to play the games, and I severely underestimated how long it takes to build these things. For one, we built the fishing one, and I think it took about an hour and a half maybe to build this fishing rod before we could actually go digital fishing. But it's impressive, the tech that they've put together using the Joy-Con sort of motion functionality coupled with the HD rumble that it's got in there now. And even just little motors and mechanical sort of bits you put together through the cardboard and some rubber bands and whatnot. I felt like I was MacGyver putting this thing together.
Did you have bubblegum paperclip?
Yeah, didn't even need it. It was that well put together. So testament to Nintendo for making these things a reality, because we built this thing and then sort of watching Archer go fishing on the little Switch screen, and the fact that you can move the rod around and it's obviously going to alter where your hook is in the water, and there's full vibration through the fishing rod, and yeah, it's really cool. So we built that and built the motorbike one, which he was all about. So yeah,
it's impressive, isn't it? It's, I guess maybe I'm thinking it might have been actually the price point that kind of, put it out of people's scope in regards to it being a very accessible add-on for kids, especially with Switches. Maybe we're underestimating how many kids have Switches. Maybe that's it.
I think so, and I'm with you. Like, obviously, it was $100 at launch. I don't know if the sales are still on, but I saw it over Christmas. You could get that sort of starter kit for $50 or less. And the time you get out of it alone from just building the damn stuff, you probably get 6 hours worth just in building all these various sets, and then you've got the game time attached to it. So there is some good value there, but you just got to be careful putting it together, because obviously cardboard is not the most rigid, robust sort of bit of kit out there. So you got to be pretty careful with your folds and your bends and all that. But it survived a 5-year-old's sort of rather rambunctious play style of video games so far. So we're 1 for 1. And then also, I have finally been cracking into the full release of Anthem on the PC, thanks to Origin Access Premiere, as I drink out of my porcelain teacup with my pinky in the air. Terrible image, but it felt better when I was thinking about it, as most things usually do. So Anthem, it is out in its entirety on PC. Yeah, like obviously EA, Bioware, massive fanboy of Bioware. For anyone that's probably at least listened to one episode of the Hungry Gamers podcast, it's my hill to die on, and it's good, not great, but it's good. So I've played for probably 4, maybe 5 hours so far, just to get a good feel. One thing that's a bit of a disconnect, I guess, from previous Bioware games is the narrative and the writing is great. Like, it's still got that sci-fi soap opera attachment to it, but some of the lines and even the voice acting work is a little bit hammy. So I've found myself skipping through some exchanges, interacting with various characters at Fort Tarsus, just because I haven't really grown or attached myself to any characters in the game yet so far. Like, I couldn't really give a shit.
No, you don't care about Kristen Shaw?
Yeah, not really. Not really. But it looks good. It still doesn't look anywhere near as good as the debut trailers and gameplay from E3 a few years back. But it looks good. It plays good. The servers are stable. Like, we didn't get any disconnects yesterday. So Rach, myself, and Benny were rolling out as our little Javelin team. There's a lot of synergy between the 4 respective Javelins. Obviously, they've got different play styles, different abilities. So you can sort of mesh the Colossus, which I've been playing, which is more the tank style, in conjunction with the Storm, which can sort of do AoE-based elemental damage, so you can sort of chain combo. That kind of stuff's really cool when you see little combo multipliers pop up and things. Yeah. But one thing that's happened, and it's to be expected, it was sort of launch day officially yesterday, the game audio just cut for myself and Rach during the game, and had to hard reset the game to get the audio back. It wasn't just at went to one headphone or it just dropped during a cutscene, like the whole audio backend, whether it be in-game sound effects, the soundtrack, cutscenes, it was all gone. So I had to reset the game for that, and Rach had to do it twice as well. For day one, if that's the worst that we had to encounter, okay, that's all right. But we were talking about this thing potentially being a Destiny killer, maybe, is a way to compare it to, and it's not there yet. The customization's great. The fact that you can customize your javelin's armor style, whether it be texture of armor, color of armor, put your vinyls on it, your weaponry, so you can make your javelin look however you like. But
at a cost.
Yeah, at a cost. Like, most of it's unlocked to start with, but there is obviously some paywall based stuff. There is a rotating like vendor that you can buy things through shards or through currency, which you can earn in game or buy due to microtransactions being available in Anthem. But it didn't take, like, you don't need that to play the game any better.
No,
it's just cosmetic, which is great. But yeah, I'm looking for that hook to get drawn in on the story. Like, there's been a few cutscenes and things that are cool, and you're following this, like, the main antagonist, or maybe he's the head general to this other doctor guy called the Monitor, and he sort of looks like, remember Apocalypse at the start of X-Men Apocalypse, where he's sort of back in Egypt days?
Yep.
He sort of looks like that, but just picture him with like a mask over his face.
Okay.
But just his audio delivery, it's so boring. Like, it's almost like he knows that he's this badass, so he's like, oh, so you're going to be my challenge. How disappointing, and all this stuff. And it's just like, fuck me. This is so campy.
Cringe.
Yeah, but it's been fun. It's cool flying around as Iron Man equivalents, being badass, wreaking hell on swarms of enemies. There's enemies all over the place, like, and it's constant waves. Like, you're not just one-on-oneing anything. It's 10 plus enemies always around you, trying to sort of give you a bad time. But yeah, I'm liking it so far. At the moment, it's probably maybe a 7.5 out of 10 feeling, just from my gut check from 4 or 5 hours. But okay. I'll definitely keep pushing through and see if this story opens up more and drags me further in. But at the moment, I'm sort of just skipping cutscenes, which sucks. Yeah. Skipping the dialogue exchanges with NPCs at Fort Tarsus. It's not what I want to be doing.
Yeah. So I've actually been following this along because this was the game that I actually tried. So this is actually the first time where I've kind of said I'd try a game before I 100% say no to it. So I decided, based on the demo, which I did have elements that I acknowledge I enjoyed, but I did not see the longevity in it for me. I enjoyed it. I put it down and decided that I wasn't going to play it on launch. So I've been following a lot of people. A lot of my friends are actually playing it. A lot of people are streaming it, and this actually seems to be a lot more issues than just the sound cutting out, which is very common. A lot of people are reporting still long menu loading times.
Oh, yeah, I've got them too.
Yeah. A lot of people are actually reporting a graphical cutting out, like graphic details like being manipulated, being cut out, falling through the earth, that sort of stuff. As well as people losing their heads.
I haven't seen any heads lost yet.
No, I've seen a few.
I've seen, like, the environments going in and out of certain sort of subsects of that universe. The render struggles to catch up, I've noticed a few times. So you'd be sort of just cruising through and it's like, oh yeah, that looks like it's just a stone ground underneath my feet there as I'm flying along. It's like, oh no, then like little stream loads in and everything else. And so the textures are constantly playing catch up in some of the massive transition pieces. But no headless javelin so far.
I've seen a few headless javelins. The other thing that I'm starting to hear about as well is some people, and I think this is more in regards to trying to follow story missions, but maybe not playing with the same consistent team, where you think you're at a certain point, like you should be up to the next part in the story, but some people are finding that they'll actually have to do the story again because the game isn't recognizing it as well. So people are having to repeat the same story. So
you're bang on, and that is one of the other bugbears at the moment for me is, yeah, there isn't really, when you are going out, joining your expedition, as they call it, and then you pick what you're doing out in the world, there isn't really a clear flow where it's like, main story and then it sort of ties into where it's going. They're called, there's contracts or there's side missions or there's agent missions, but it doesn't give you a clear flow of where you need to go to next. So we did replay a few missions the same time because either the save data didn't carry over to Benny or to myself or to Rach, because the contracts are sort of still listed as the same thing every time, even if you do get a new one, and then the new one didn't carry, and then we played the previous one again, and yeah, I totally forgot about that until just now. It was a bit of a pain in the ass. Like, it's good for XP grind, obviously, and all the little missions are pretty quick. They're very self-contained, and you can roll through some of these in 15 minutes max. But yeah, it's not a clear get from point A to point B by going to there. It's clear as mud, really.
Yeah. And I've got to ask, because this is definitely something that I thought about, especially with the VIP, and I put that in quotation marks, VIP beta test. Now, like, people who got access to it were obviously people that signed up for Premiere and getting access to it that way. So there's some sense of exclusivity to this. Mm-hmm. But it seems like any person that got this kind of, like, exclusive access, whether it's VIP or Premiere, you are essentially trying this broken game and is setting it up for maybe the people to play later down the line to get fixed. So you're essentially paying for the courtesy of, like, pointing out the issues so other people get a better experience. Yeah,
it almost felt like we were sort of bug testers, beta testers for this game. And if they called it a VIP beta, it probably wouldn't have gotten the internet up in arms as much as it did by calling it a VIP demo.
Yeah.
You expect a little more level of polish and prestige and everything else, and we didn't really get that. As you'd know, you played the demo as well. It's the exact same as the VIP version. So maybe to appease some of the negative outcry, they did give you some vinyls and some armor sets and things. Like once we logged in and got about an hour or so into the game, it opened up a vendor where you can buy your certain sort of assets to craft or to buy your aesthetical skins and weapon styles and things like that. So they give you, I think you get about half a dozen different little bits and pieces. So it can be, a new armor style. It was some vinyls and stuff. So they did sort of say, we're sorry. Here's some non-value bits of sticker to chuck on your javelin, but at least it's something.
I guess it is.
But most of them look crap.
I don't know. Like, I actually found a lot of streams to be boring. A lot of repetition, which I know, once again, is rich coming from a Destiny player. But also, I see the story thing. I had to bear witness a few story scenes and sequences and a lot of dialogue. And I kind of mentioned, the voice acting in this is a bit hit and miss. There's some great ones in there. Kevin Parcell from 30 Rock's in there. He's at the bar. Kenneth, sorry. Is that his name? Kenneth Parcell of 30 Rock?
I think
Internet
it's
will
Kenneth.
prove me wrong. But for the most part, there's a lot of cringe. There's a lot of, I saw a lot of people doing, like you said, just skipping through kind of thing. So this makes me wonder if Destiny ever did actually actively pursue a story. Do not take a page from this book, please.
Yeah, it's just tough because like Bioware and Casey Hudson and all those guys and girls at Bioware that have written these big space novellas. Mass Effect is some of the best writing in video games that I've ever experienced, and this just feels like a light version of that almost.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it really dials up and tightens up as the game goes forward, but yeah, skipping through cutscenes and sort of dialogue exchanges hurts me because I was usually reading every word and I was fully engrossed and riding the emotional roller coaster.
Yeah.
And they do give you choice, if you're on controller, left trigger or right trigger to react to certain things in certain ways. But I don't know if that shapes your journey in this game at all as well. Maybe it's just a little bit of fan service, so it feels like it's more RPG-esque where your actions will have reactions. But from all accounts, it just seems like they're just giving you you can be smart-assy or you can be serious. That seems to be the two forks in the road you get with your dialogue exchanges.
Right. I wonder if there's going to be like romance elements added into it.
Maybe.
I just like, I'm interested to see, because you got to follow a story element, but then you're also in a squad as well, aren't you? So you're in that multiplayer squad element.
Yeah.
So is everyone else experiencing dialogue at the same time?
No. In out on expeditions you do. So you squad up in the expedition, and then once that expedition is over, you can choose to go back to Fort Tarsus, which is just the main hub, the tower equivalent if we're going to tie it to Destiny. But you aren't running around with the rest of your squad mates. It's just you and all the NPCs. But then there's another area. I can't remember the name of it now, but it's like another area attached to Fort Tarsus, but you're still in your javelin, and there's all other real players around you in there as well. So there's like a little social environment there. But as far as doing the interactions with NPCs for quests and things, that's all solo at Fort Tarsus. So you hop out of your javelin and you run around on foot again. Then you jump in your javelin, then you're with your mates. So
I'm wondering if that's what takes away from a lot of the story element as well, is that if you are squadding up with a team and you're kind of working together to certain goals, having someone kind of going through story and dialogue and all that sort of stuff kind of, I guess me personally, if I was trying to go through story, but I know my team's out there and we just want to get to the next, you kind of probably get that antsiness of just like, oh, whatever, I'll blast past this. I just want to go to the next story kind of thing. So it probably doesn't help. No.
So obviously the final form of this game is going to be much different in the next 3, 6, 12 months. Similar to Destiny, I'd imagine, where they're going to do some positive and negative changes. But
we'll get it
see.
right 2 years long.
That's it. But we'll see. But it looks like it's going to be probably another average reviewed Bioware game. So that's sort of 2 asterisk-based titles back to back with Andromeda and now Anthem, just from my feeling. So yeah, they need to hurry up and reboot that Mass Effect franchise or bring out another Dragon Age, which is on the way, but we still don't even know a year for when that will be dropping. But we'll see. And anyone that likes space RPGs or likes Iron Man, likes group-based sort of squad mechanics with some RPG elements, it's worth looking at. But yeah, maybe don't pay the full hundo on launch. If you can get it for a steal, get on it. But yeah, it's very much a game I think that's going to live and die with playing with friends or squad mates as opposed to just rolling solo. Yeah, but we'll see.
Time will tell.
Yeah, and I've got Metro. I've fired it up and played for an hour, but we'll talk more about that next week when I've got a more refined opinion. So, quick bit of housekeeping. As we led off with, 8-Bit Phase 3 happened this past week, and the main sort of driving force out of the back of that was the Patreon announcements. So, patreon.com/weare8bit. We've got 5 tiers of various levels of entry and access available for everybody out there. That starts from just $1 a month, and that gets you early access to the 8-Bit Cast, all the way up to $20, which gets you access to limited merch that you will not find anywhere else on the entire planet. So yeah, if you can dip into those pockets and find something to chuck, not only our way, but this also covers off other members of the hashtag 8-Bit Collective as well. So we're trying to pool all our resources and energy together and turn this thing into, a bigger beast, a bigger, better beast. So yeah, anything you can throw our way, even if you can't do anything financially, just share it amongst your social networks, because it will mean the world to us to get more eyes and ears on our content moving forward. And then next week, episode 140 sees the Hungry Gamers joined by everyone's favourite NPCs, a couple of NPCs, Andrew and Alex from Sydney, one of the best kept secrets in the video game podcasting or content creation universe. So they'll be joining us for the very first time next week on episode 140. So we're pretty excited for that. We cannot confirm nor deny if Dream will be back. But if we sort of follow with the theme from the start of this episode, no, he won't, because we said goodbye to him. So, yeah, you'll meet our new co-host next week. Miss Hart, shall we get into some news?
Let's do it.
Alrighty.
This week's news headlines.
Okay, so we got some rapid-fire bits and pieces from within the industry this week. The first one, Fresh Prince actor Alfonso Ribeiro has been denied dance copyright in Fortnite and NBA 2K16 lawsuits. So we're not at all surprised.
No.
Power to him for actually having a firm crack and trying to get some money out of these guys.
Why not? I would do it. I like. It's true. Like, how do you copyright a dance? How do you say 100% I created this dance? All moves are organically mine. This is mine.
Yeah.
Give me money. But yeah, like anyone would, especially that was the juggernaut that was Fortnite. Why wouldn't you get a slice of that pie?
Yeah, exactly. And you see the main reason that he's fallen through is because what Carlton did in the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, it was a simple dance routine. So it didn't tie into choreographed major works. So yeah, this is not the last time we'll hear from the legal realm of video gaming tied into Epic, especially because there is that many emotes doing the rounds from actors of yesteryear and shitty rappers and whoever else trying to get their cheddar from Epic. But yeah, first win getting marked to Epic and 2K as well. So
glad that big businesses won that one.
Yeah.
No, it's just, you actually see within other games that do have emoting functions that they're actually copying a lot of the same kind of dance moves and references. Most of them not using the actual name or terminology. So I think by this saying that you can't copyright a dance might see a lot of more free movement of people taking certain other pop culture references.
Yeah, it is. What do they say? Imitation is the highest form of flattery.
Fattery.
Flattery.
Apparently. But it's also a good way to get a lawsuit out.
Unless you've got them big legal fat cats like Epic does, and they just either pay you to go away or probably make you fear for your life. Who knows?
You and your small dance routines.
That's it. Get out of here, bloody Alfonso Ribeiro. Go back to that snack-based show that you're peddling these days on the Food Network, you bastard. It's called like How It Works or How It's Made.
Oh, hang on. That show's great. How It's Made is a great show.
Some.
I want to know how a marble is made.
I'm only interested when he does the food-based ones.
Food one's great as well. Yeah. Although it's like, oh, this is where hot dogs are made. And you're like, oh, no. Yeah. And then you proceed to order one.
Yeah, we don't need that mystery unveiled for us. Okay, so Apex Legends continues to crush it out there. This past week, the free-to-play Battle Royale game reached the following achievements. They hit a 25 million total player base. Oof. They also hit 2 million concurrent players and also took the title for the fourth highest single-day Twitch viewing of all time. Wow. So this ties into February the 12th, where they had 8.4 million hours worth of Twitch viewing done in that 24-hour period. And as far as Battle Royale goes, that is now the highest Battle Royale single-day viewing. It was previously held by Fortnite with 7.2 million viewers. But CSGO holds the top three, and that ties into some of their professional tournaments that seems to just pull every viewer out of the woodwork for that. But yeah, Apex is just on the up and up. Have you played it at all this week? Obviously, it wasn't in the listing, but...
I did not get to squad up this week. I've actually been really disappointed that I actually didn't get to play it this week because I'm seeing so many people out there playing it and I see the videos and I see the Twitch streams and I'm just like, I really want to get into it. But I don't know. It's like that whole old age thing now that we kind of experience where it's like it's an investment to actually start playing a video game, especially after a day of work. So. Yeah.
Life sucks sometimes.
Life sucks. Don't grow up, kids.
Yeah.
It's a trap.
Stay in school forever. Actually don't, because then you'll probably get bullied being some older sort of creep at school when you're 30. But anyway.
Bullied, arrested, same.
Yeah.
But this Apex? I always say it freaking wrong. Apex Legends, everyone's loving it. I'm not hearing any like major negative issues about it. The only thing that I'm hearing slightly now is the cosmetics, how much they're asking people like to pay for certain like gear or legendaries or whatever. Apparently the system's a little bit iffy where you need a certain amount to pay, and then in order to get those, I don't know what they're called in this, like the equivalent of V-Bucks, I guess, the currency, in order to buy certain objects, they don't meet the same.
Nah, it's different. The measuring stick between the Apex coins and the shards or whatever the hell they are. Yeah, there's a big disparity between the two. And
so yeah, it enforces you to actually buy more than what they're segmented in. So it's like if you want 1,000, the most average thing is 1,050. So it's like you'd have to buy 2,000 really to get the one thing. So a little dodgy. So.
Yeah, well, they gotta make that scratch somehow. But yeah, there will probably be some balancing of that economy system down the line. But yeah, this game is just going from strength to strength, and no doubt next week we'll probably be talking about further achievements and records being broken by Apex Legends, because it is the game on everybody's lips. Another game that was on some people's lips this week was a sealed copy of Super Mario Brothers, selling for a record price of $140,608. And that's Australian dollars. So that's about 100,000 USD. And this was done via a private transaction. And this pretty much marks the most expensive video game ever sold. This is nuts.
It makes you wonder, because you go into your local game trader or whatever and you see how much they ask for a game. It's like $40, and you're like, I wonder if I have a game that is valued like to a high degree. But I mean, I've got OG like Mega Drive Master Systems, and it's still in their case. Some with what we used to have in the day, kids, which were like instruction manuals and guides. And which used to have the little cheat code in the back. You could call the number and get assistance, because we didn't have websites to help us out. But that amount, there's something very specific about this game, though, right? It was like a... Yeah,
so in 2017, another original copy of Mario Bros sold for about 42,000 Australian, 30,000 Australian, USD, sorry. And the difference comes down to one tiny sticker. So instead of the game being shrink wrapped in plastic, the boxes containing the very first run of NES games produced in America were only sealed on the top flap using a black foil circular sticker with the Nintendo logo on it. So one little sticker on the top flap made the game go from US $100,000, up to US $100,000 as opposed to US $30,000. So it's insane. Like,
yeah,
obviously the value is defined by what people want to pay for the game, but man, 6 figures for a singular video game. You got to be a pretty sort of devout Mario Bros fan to want to sort of grab this and add it to your collection. But it's proven people are all about this life too.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we've all learned a lesson here: is to keep your value, just keep your flaps closed.
Oh my goodness, it's so true on so many levels.
Next story. Hollow Knight is getting a full sequel. So the lovable boys from Team Cherry down in Adelaide initially had plans for some DLC attached to the runaway smash hit Hollow Knight, have instead turned around this past week and unveiled Silk Song, the official sequel to Hollow Knight. No firm date or has been attached to it just yet, but you are going to be playing Hornet, the spear-wielding heroine, and occasional antagonists from the original. So it's exciting. It's going to be set in a new kingdom with new enemies, bosses, towns, and quests. And it's going to be releasing on PC and Switch first, with the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 versions to follow later. So it's good to see. It's good to see Team Cherry, like they're a small team. We were looking on their website earlier. They've got 3 staff members now instead of the previous 2. So it's incredible
to have this success from such a small team out in the back of South Australia. Like, it's a testament to these guys, and they're good blokes. I've met them a couple of times. Really good fellas. It's great to see them have such success both locally and abroad. And no doubt this sequel will further generate and launch that star further into the video game stratosphere.
definitely. I have to ask. Okay, first of all, I have to confess, I haven't played Hollow Knight. So before this one comes out, I obviously need to play the original. So what's best to play Hollow Knight? Should I play it on PC? Should I play it on Switch?
I think Switch would be right in your wheelhouse. PC or Switch would be the way to go, but I think just having these types of games available now on the go, on demand, anytime is perfect. And the controllers map really well to the Switch in handheld mode. So I think you'll sort of find some nice comfort food there on the Switch.
Yeah, definitely. I only ever hear great things about this game, so I'll definitely have to give it a try.
The next bit of news, God of War wins big at the DICE Awards 2019. So the PlayStation 4 exclusive won 9 of the 23 award categories, including the big one, Game of the Year.
Remember when people thought that this game was going to miss out on awards?
Mm-hmm.
And then
Idiots.
They kind of demolished the DICE Awards. They must have gotten sick of getting up.
Yeah. Old Corey Barlog and the team, they were up and down. But it's good to see. Like it was a magical experience playing that sort of, what was it, March last year. I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah, it's a while now.
Yeah, like nearly 12 months on. There's rumors about potential DLC, but I think they're just going to shift focus because they want to turn this into the next trilogy. So there's going to be a second and a third God of War on the current and the next gen, which I'm excited for because this new story they told with Kratos and his son was fantastic. And going to Norse mythology as opposed to Greek was great as well. It was a good shift in the right direction, breathed new life into this franchise, and holy crap, it's one of the best looking games we've ever seen on console, by far.
So much deserving of these awards.
Much deserving, yes. And the last sort of bit of minor news before we shift into the Nintendo Direct, Activision Blizzard cuts nearly 800 jobs amid, in quotes, record results in 2018. So we reported on this rumor last week on episode 138, and the initial just talks and sort of leaking going out there was about 200 people were going to get the chop. Instead, roughly 770 people, or 8% of the entire staff of Activision Blizzard, have been let go. And this is part of the company, in quotes, deprioritizing initiatives that are not meeting expectations, end quote. But yeah, this is rough. This is very rough. Nearly 800 people left without a job after their company has one of the best years on record and still makes a ton of money, and yet they're still cutting that out. So ugh.
Yeah, a lot of bad decision making, a lot of giving the fat cats big old bonuses. Apparently,
that's some bullshit.
Yeah, you never. I know I experienced that once in a work environment where we were told there was never enough money around to, have staff, and then you'd hear about the report of your big boss getting a nice fat paycheck bonus for his hard work. So I can only imagine that what all those employees from Blizzard, Activision, like, how they must be feeling. The only good thing that ever really comes from this is the community vibe between game devs and the gaming community, and how everyone kind of pitches in together and works together to help each other out. I know that there's a few job lists out there now. I think it was done by Mitch Dyer.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. But yeah, the sense of community. But yeah, I really think that especially after this, the game industry needs to do something about protecting devs, because they're just getting dropped instantly.
Yeah, like we see it more and more through the social channels we're part of and through mass media that there's a big push to unionize the video games industry just so there is protection and a safety net for stuff like this. Like, they just rolled into work on Monday and were just told, see you later. Like, yeah, CEO Bobby Kotick gave the company's record results in 2018, and then he went on to further say, well, our financial results for 2018 were the best in our history. We didn't realize our full potential. Like, what a fucking antiquated backwards thought process that is. And then
100%, yeah. severing
nearly 800 people's livelihoods, at least from a temporary career perspective, on the back of record results. It's such a strange, mixed bullshit message to send to the market. Like, and this long term may sort of ripple down through Activision Blizzard, where people might be skeptical and hesitant to come work for them, because even if they are achieving greatness, there's no guarantee that they're going to be sticking around.
And one of the things that actually came to fruition that I actually discovered that a lot of American game devs now go and aim to work overseas, because it seems like a lot of game dev jobs, positions are really looked after in like more of the European studios. Like they're actually looked after there, kind of thing. So they might want to watch out like what this does in the bigger scope of things. People might not want to start studying this. They might not want to get into the industry, and then it just might ripple. Who knows? Yeah. Who knows what this could do? I think
you bang on the money. At the end of the day, employees are searching for security in whatever aspect of work they're in, and the fact that there isn't much in the video game space is terrifying, especially because the amount of money that's generated. Like it's a higher grossing industry than the film industry, yet there's no safety net for a lot of these stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Best of luck to the near 800 people that have sort of been greeted with that terrible news this week. But as you said, the community sort of comes together and pushes forward and tries to share the love and get them into opportunities and new areas of employment really quick, which is great to see. So hopefully everyone lands on their feet on that one. Sadly, it's not going to be the last time we hear of job cuts and things like that. But it's insane. Like, I was looking at some numbers. We've got about 1,000 full-time video game-based employees across Australia. So this is imagine 80% of the full-time game devs being jobless for Australia. Like, that's now nearly our entire market gone in one fell swoop.
Wasn't there a time where we actually had a unit, a Blizzard studio or something like that, a segment in Australia, and that closed down?
Yeah, we had Team Bondi here. Which were one of the bigger ones. We've had a few, like we've had local Activision staffing here and things like that as well. But yeah, a lot of them either just close up and have PR representation here in Australia now and shift all their development overseas. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, good luck to everybody involved in that. Hopefully you find your way sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
And the last bit of news that we wanted to touch on, Nintendo rudely dropping a Nintendo Direct on 8-Bit Day. I wish they sort of hit us up beforehand and allowed us to come to some kind of agreement to stagger these releases maybe 24 hours apart. But Nintendo Direct happened this past week on February 13 or February 14 here for us in the Southern Hemisphere or in Australia. And as far as the biggest announcements that were doing the rounds, I've grabbed a few, but I don't really have much skin in the game for most of these titles that I'll mention. So
yeah, and that's what I felt bad about too, is that there was a lot of hype that surrounded a few announcements, and I'm just like, ooh, I don't get this.
Yeah, so Fire Emblem Three Houses was one that has gotten a lot of people excited out there. This is an exclusive release for the Nintendo Switch, dropping on July 26th. More Fire Emblem for those people that do like those RTS-based titles with a bit of sort of anime manga flair attached to it. It looked good, but it just looks like a game that'll probably miss, at least for me personally, because there's just so many other games at the moment, and Fire Emblem's a franchise I've never touched to this day. But I know a lot of people that love it. Reese especially is a big Fire Emblem guy, so maybe I'll just live through him on this and get his feedback. Another game which got some hype but sort of tone deaf for me, The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. Obviously Game Boy Adventure is getting a full remake on the Switch. It's preserving the same top-down perspective of the original while using modern 3D graphics. Also contains some nice 2D segments as well. It's coming out later this year. It looked very pretty.
Yeah, it looked adorable. I'm
just not a Zelda guy.
I am exactly the same. I always find it hard to kind of hype up a lot of what would be considered classic Nintendo content, only because I was a Sega kid. So I don't have these attachments. They announce a Sonic, though. I'm usually right on it, so my apologies.
Yeah, nah, it's all right. You're justified in those opinions. I'm the same. Yeah, Zelda's obviously a franchise which is very near and dear to a lot of people's hearts, but it just doesn't resonate with us because we're heartless, cold-blooded sons of bitches, apparently.
We were lucky we got to play the best one the first time around, Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, touche. It'll get a remake eventually, I'm sure of it.
Don't know if I want that.
The world does, though. It's not all about you.
Who gives a damn about the world?
Yeah, fuck them. Next one, Super Mario Maker 2. It's getting a full sequel on the Switch. You played Super Mario Maker at all?
No,
Were you a fan?
I didn't play the first one either, no. No, there's a lot of... there's actually a really big community when it comes to Super Mario Maker. So, although to me, I'm kind of like, okay, it needed it too. No, there's a big community out there for Super Mario Maker. So, I guess it makes sense to them that they would actually bring out a 2.
I dabbled, like, this was sort of similar to me with, like, Little Big Planet. Like, I dabbled in these games and had a bit of fun, but I didn't get sort of dragged deep as far as the sort of sub-communities and what you could do and the raw power of these games. But it looked fun. One thing I liked, shifting the control scheme from the Wii U, where they've got this wheel interface for picking up your items. And then you also, with hazards, they can be coming from the background and the foreground. So I like that there is a bit of depth to the game now, as far as potential things you've got to try and avoid or that's going to try and harm you. But yeah, it's coming out on June 19, which is pretty crazy. So it's a few months away. The next one, which we already talked about so eloquently at the start of the episode, Tetris 99, free-to-play Tetris Battle Royale game. Available right now, no cost, free on the Nintendo Switch. You do need your online account to be able to play against these other players, though. So, you're $8 a month or whatever they charge you for that.
I completely forgot about that.
Yeah,
I forgot that I've paid to play online on Nintendo. I knew this would happen. I paid the charge, and I just completely forgot about it.
That's how they get you, and they probably
get
they mask the charge on your PayPal or your credit card statement as like. Double shot latte or something like that.
But seriously,
Nintendo.
play Tetris 99. Even just one game.
I'm going to download it today and get amongst it. Can you party up? Like, can I send you a request to play with you, or is it just
No,
like
I
random
don't think
lobbies?
so. I don't think so. I know that Greg Miller actually mentioned this morning that after he's a master. I keep on seeing him getting first place, but I think him and his missus only just managed to fall into a game for the first time. So by random.
Yeah, no doubt that'll come with time, which would be great because then you could squad up. But maybe then it is like, are they trying to eliminate the chance of you trying to stack the deck for your friend to win? True. I don't know. And the last game I wanted to bring to light was the Astral Chain reveal from Platinum Games. Looks pretty damn good. Heroes battling demon-like enemies. This details are pretty scarce at the moment, but it's getting developed and supervised by Bayonetta creator Hideki Kamiya. And its team includes at least one near automata staffer. There's robot dogs, which can be your friend as well. The game comes out on August 30. And Platinum Games, they do make some quality content. They're working on Bayonetta 3 at the moment. They did, Near Automata, Last Order, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutants in Manhattan in 2016.
Cowabunga.
Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. They're known for that frenetic, artistic, stylized chain combat from Bayonetta and Revengeance and Nier Automata as well. So it looked good, and Platinum Games, I like the quality that they put out there. So Nintendo Direct, I like these little sort of mini announcements. I like that they're tight. They're done within an hour, sometimes between 30 45 minutes, nice and punchy. And a lot of these games they're getting you hyped about are coming out within 6 months of this announcement. So that's pretty damn cool.
Yeah, apparently this one was really good. It was just game after game after game after game. Like you said, no BS, straight to the point. But unfortunately, this one was pretty shit because they didn't say anything about Animal Crossing. So, I just want my Animal Crossing now.
Maybe that will happen at E3 this year.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, so Nintendo, that was their Nintendo Direct. I think in total they announced 30 games, if I can remember right, from sort of notes and things. So 30 games, and no doubt we'll see another one of these in anywhere between the next 3 to 6 months. Maybe unveiling Animal Crossing, maybe unveiling some video of the now remade Metroid that they're doing from the ground up again. So we'll see. It's exciting time out there for gamers, though. There is so much to choose from on all platforms. You really got to pick and choose your battles. As we talk about more and more every week, like Metro Exodus, we've got Anthem, we've got Division 2 coming out. Jump Force has just come out on the back of that as well, and a whole host of other games that, the internet is gagging for. So, yeah. What a time to be alive, huh?
Yeah, who would have thought that gaming would have reached to this sort of like pinnacle? Like, especially us back in the day, back as younglings, thinking that it was just a very select group of us, and now it's just so mainstream culture. Like the fact that just it's referenced in just fucking the news, gaming in the news. Like the fact that happens now is just baffling.
Yeah,
they're uneducated as fuck, but it happens.
I had one of those moments. I was out sort of seeing some customers in my real job on Friday, and I was riding shotgun with this sort of channel manager for a camera manufacturer that we work with, and he's an older guy, maybe I don't know, in his 40s or something like that. And we got to talking, and he asked what I was doing on the weekend, and I don't usually talk about that we do podcasting and stuff like that, and I just did off the cuff, and sort of said we were playing some games. He's like, oh really? And then we started talking about like new Far Cry and everything like that, and Apex Legends and what he's sort of seen and heard about that, and dealing with Fortnite with his kids and that kind of thing. And it's crazy, as you said, that it is just so mainstream now. Like the lines are blurred. It used to be, the quote unquote nerds are over there isolated, getting picked on sometimes from mainstream society. And now it's, almost seen as a cool thing, or at least an acceptable thing for now. So yeah. There's
definitely more jocks in the frigging gaming industry. That's for damn sure.
Mm-hmm. Haven't given me any wedgies though.
Not yet.
They got to find me first. All right, so that has been episode 139 of the Hungry Gamers podcast. Is there anything you wanted to say before we close this off for another week, Miss Hart?
I just want to say a massive shout out to everyone a part of the 8-Bit family, working together on the announcement of our 8-Bit Patreon and all the new content coming out, and also a big shout out to all our supporters that are shared, signed up, joined in, got amongst it. I know it was very daunting for you, Brendan, and like for most of us, like putting our next foot forward, and having supporters out there really pushing us forward is what makes it all worthwhile. So thank you guys.
100%, couldn't have said that any better. But if you wanted to listen to something a little bit more clear and concise about Phase 3 and what we're doing, check out Putting in Work, where we've got Miss Hart and the Dream on there, with Jono diving deep on what we're doing here with 8-Bit moving forward, as well as a bit of origin stories on the Hungry Gamers and what we're planning for the future. So it's a really, really good episode. I think it runs about 35-ish minutes or so. So it's nice, clean and punchy, and some good banter on there with three of my favorites. So give that a listen. But also, head over to patreon.com/weare8bit. Chuck us something as little as $1, because it is going to help. I don't want to be sounding like I'm too hat in hand here, but it really does help keep those emotional lights on in our hearts. And if you can't jump on the Patreon, just share it, or jump onto the podcast hosting platforms, namely iTunes. Give us a rate, review, and subscription, as well as the other podcasts within the hashtag 8-Bit Collective, because it means so much to us all and it takes so little time. Until next week, 8-Bit Nation, I have been your very humble host, Brendan White. You find me at Brendan8Bit. This has been my very humble co-host, Miss Ellie Hart, who can be found at Miss Ellie Hart. Much love.
Stay hungry.
You've been listening to The Hungry Gamers, one of many gaming and geek culture related podcasts from the 8-Bit Collective over on 8bit.net. Check out more episodes on your podcast service of choice. And while you're there, please be sure to rate and subscribe. Until next time, boys and girls, stay hungry.